Hi, and welcome to the support series videos from Vectra. In this series, engineers will go through some of the common requests we see from customers and how to resolve them. Please be sure to subscribe and check back for new videos in the series.
Hello everyone, I am Sanjay Raghuvanshi, member of the Vectra support team. In this video, I will be giving you a demo of Brain to server backups. The KV article which I'll be showing you here, or I'm referring to, you can find that KV article link in the description of the video. So we'll begin. First of all, I'll find the KB article. So you can look for customers knowledge center. Here I'll be looking for automated backup. So this is the KB article which will be referring to configure the backup on a remote server using SFTP protocol. So in this video, I'll be covering through overview, what are the feature details, backup server, what are the prereqs, how the backup retention works, configuration steps, and a bit of troubleshooting. So as you have already seen in one of the earlier video where we have done the brain-to-brain automated backups configuration. Backups are basically a mechanism which is provided to take a backup of all the data available in the Vectra Detect. If we look at the feature details, it covers the part which is covered in the backup file. And most important part which we need to take note of is that these are all the full backups and these are not the incremental backups. All the backups which we are taking, it will be covering all the PCAP files, campaign objects, user roles, tries rules, sensor pairing, and UI settings. These backups will be encrypted using GPG with a Vectra proprietary key, and backups can only be decrypted by Vectra support at this time. The archive size may vary with the number of host detections and campaigns in the system, and that is typically expected that an archive will reach up to size of 5 to 50 GB, depending on the load of the appliance. So the backup server which we'll be configuring today is SFTP server, and it supports RSA key authentication. In most of the cases, customers use Linux server based on the common Linux distributions, which are Ubuntu or Red Hat. So the prerequisites for these is that Brain should be able to communicate to the backup server using SCP or SFTP or whichever protocol which we are referring to on port 22. And the second and most important part is that it should be having a folder which we'll be referring to in the brain configuration. That folder should be accessible to the user. The user name should be available with us at the time of configuration, and it would also require us to copy the RSA key from the brain configuration to the backup server so that exchange can happen smoothly. These are the important parts which we need to cover in the prereqs part. At the time of configuration, we'll be looking at the backup retention as well. So the command, if you look at the command of configuration, it uses a target rotate option. That option is very important if you are trying to retain number of copies. So if this target rotate option is not set, in that case, we'll be having rotation disabled. And if you have this number set, for example, in this case 5, that means it will only retain last 5 backups and it will continue to override on top of that, and it will only have the latest 5 copies. We recommend having this option set, else you can run out of the space on the backup server. If your organization needs are to have all the backups available, then you can keep it off. by not defining any value in this. So you have to define the value 0 to have this switched off. Or if not defined, then also it will be referred as 0, which is rotation is disabled. So we'll begin the configuration steps now. I'll open the brain. The one which I have for demo is a virtual brain. I have the details copied here in the notepad, so I'll be referring to it. So the IP of the brain is 192.168.52.249. I'll open this. User is Vectra. I've entered the password as well. So this is our brain. So you just need to ask your system admin to provide you SCP server details with the user and the target path where the uploads needs to be done. So for the demo, I have got one set up for myself. I'll just log into it and share the screen with you. I'll just pause the recording and log into that session. Okay, so I have logged into the SFTP server. This is the path I've been provided to upload the backup files. So this was another VHE brain. I've turned this into a FTP servers, SFTP server for our demo purpose. So if we look at the KB article, we'll just go to the configuration steps. And the first command is backup clear. So I'll pick this up and run a backup clear. After backup clear, there is a configure command. So I'll pick this up while backup clear is going on, and I'll prepare the command in the meantime. So backup configure target user. The user I've got is backup underscore user. So backup underscore user. SFTP password. This option you have to provide if you are having the password authentication set for the SFTP server. So we have got the authentication enabled, password authentication enabled. So we have to keep this, and the target server. So SFTP server IP is this. So I'll use this IP here, and target path, that is slash uploads. This is the path I've got where we need to copy this and copy more. I'm going to use SFTP and external. Okay, so this is to enable the external backup. If you remember from the previous video, this is set to enable brain if you are setting up the brain-to-brain backup. In case of remote backups, we are setting it to external. Target rotate 5 is to, as I discussed earlier in this video, if we have the target rotate set, then we'll be having only 5 copies of the backups. I'll copy this command. It will prompt us for the password which we have to enter once we enter this command. So let's see, backup clear is done. I'll paste the command here and enter. So it prompted me for the password. I'll enter the password now. It will verify the password for the SFTP. Let's see if it goes through. While this is being validated, we'll check the next command, that is backup show. Okay, it is done. So we'll run backup show now to check what is the status. So this is done. As you see, the config coffee to brain is false because we have enabled external here. So external is set to true. This is the public key. This is what we need to get this copied to authorized keys in the SFTP server for that particular user which we are using. In this case, it's backup user. For now, it is set to schedule is for Sunday. R is 5, which is 5 a.m. in the morning. Target path is set to slash uploads. And target server is also set. Password is also set. And target user is backup user, backup underscore user. So this is nice. Let's check the backup test command. This will ensure that we are able to copy files to the backup server. So we have got the output for backup test command, and it shows that testing backup copy to file server, test copy to file server is successful, which means we should be able to see this particular file on the target server. So we'll go to the FTP server and do ls on the target path. We have got the file as expected here, which means we are able to copy the files to the SFTP server successfully. The next part is to backup enable weekday or hour of the day. So I'll keep it as is because this is just for the demo. So I'll keep it Sunday 5, and this will run an automatic backup on Sunday at 5 a.m. Once this is done, as you see in the above example, adding the optional target SFTP password is required. So we have entered that password, and the copy mode is also set to SFTP. These are the instructions which you can go through. And this is for the backup enable command. These are all the options which are available at the time of configuring backup. So this is an important part. So when we run the backup test, it copies test file on the backup server to validate if it is able to copy. While setting up this SFTP server, I already picked up my public key and I've copied it into SFTP server already. That's why we did not get the error. So that is one important part which you need to keep in mind, else you'll get the error. So this key starting from here till here needs to be copied in the authorized keys for backup underscore user in the SFTP server. So this is where it talks about, this is where the KB article talks about that. And it is in the written in the prerequisite part as well that a unique key will be generated from Vectra Brain for the backup. So that unique key needs to be copied in the authorized keys on the SFTP server. So I've done that already, and backup test is successful for me, and I've enabled this as well. Now we'll run a backup just to see if we are able to copy the backup successfully or not. So we'll do a backup run and we'll see if we are able to copy the backup file on the SFTP server. Okay, so I just got a prompt back. Seems the backup has been completed. I'll run the command restore list and it shows me the latest backup. I'll check here now on the SFTP server if we have the backup copied. So we have got the backup here. Let's validate the time. Yeah, 3:35, we got the backup here. Now, since we have got the backup on the SFTP server, now the next part would be how to restore it. To restore, we'll have to go back to the KB article. Let's see if we have the restoration part here. Restore run -hatch. So this gives us all the option to how to restore the backup since we have it on remote on SFTP server. So we'll be using this. So restore run -SFTP. After SFTP, we need to mention the user. So the user is backup underscore user @ IP of the server. So we can get the IP from the backup show. This is the IP and path. So path is here /uploads/ the file name. And I'll run the command and restoration has begun. It may take a bit of time. There is one thing which you may be wondering in this video is that why am I mentioning the path as /uploads, whereas the path here is /where SFTP uploads. So while this restore is going on, I'll just give you more details into the SFTP user part. the SSHD config for the user. So this is my user backup underscore user, and this is the authorized key file where we have to copy the SSH RSA key file, and I forced only SFTP on this, so there is no SSH access, only the SFTP. And password authentication is set to yes. So whenever I'm trying to access this, I'll be prompted for the password. And chroot directory, this is the uh, param which we use to restrict the user to only log into this particular directory. So this is the directory in which SFTP user will directly land into. So when SFTP user tries to access this machine, it will be starting from here. So this is its home directory. So basically ch is change root directory, which is a root directory where the login prompt shows up for the user. So since it is already where SFTP, so I just have to use /uploads there, and that's where it will get the files. So you can take note of this as well in case you need to set this up by yourself on a Ubuntu or Red Hat server. So restore may take a bit of time. I'll just pause the video and wait for it to finish. All right, restore process is completed now. We'll go back to the KB article. We have completed all the processes. Restore is also completed. Similarly, you can set up AWS S3 bucket as well in place of SFTP server. And there are some audit entries example which you can see in the syslogs for backup related entries, for backup completed, backup start, backup copy completed, on all that. Sometimes the restore process may take a bit of time. Do not worry about it. It may increase or decrease depending on the file size of the backup. It involves some complex processes at the time of restoration, so taking a bit of time is expected. And if the backup size is a bit huge, then restore may take even longer. So do not press Control C or try to exit the session. Just wait for the prompt. And in case there is any error, you can raise a case with Vectra support. There are some other common errors which you may see at the time of setting up remote backup. Those are described in this particular KB article. Most likely those are related to either the target path is not set correctly. In that case, you'll get an error at the time of test backup as well as the restore. And if this public key is not copied to the authorized keys on the SFTP server, then you'll get the permission denied as well. So those are the common errors which you'll get. In case you're still having any issues, even after correcting the target path and adding the key into the authorized key, then feel free to raise a case with Vector support team via email or support portal. That's all from my side today. Thank you so much for your time.